right, and that's what needs to be targeted. Your other guest said that it's 1 in 3 by the time they leave primary school of children that are obese. Well, these children aren't coming into a fish and chip shop or another takeaway in the lunch hour because they can't be staying in the school. So I would say that whilst I understand and appreciate what the issues are, it's not down to the takeaways, and the chances of having multiple takeaways around a school is very slim. You usually have 1, 2 at most. It's about getting these children early and educating the parents and making it easy for the parents to provide this.
Let's bring a Asim in on this. I mean, is it about educating the parents, or is it actually that we all know exactly what we're meant to be eating? It's just we purposely ignore the message because we don't like it. Mung beans, all that stuff, all carrots. Nobody really likes those, do they?
Well, actually, I think you can enjoy nutritious food, but education is important, but it hasn't worked. And the reason it hasn't worked, again, as I've said before, is a food environment. The analogy I would give, it's like asking a child that grows up in a sweet shop to not eat sweets. It's not going to have an effect, and we know that, and we're all vulnerable to the processed food environment. I do agree with your other guests, though, in terms of it shouldn't be just targeting fish and chip shops, and probably, to be honest, fish and chip shops aren't the main problem here. It's the overall food environment and the big businesses, your kind of big food corporations and your McDonald's and Coca-Cola, etc., and the amount of money they have and they spend on marketing targeting children. That's an important aspect. Plus, the sugary treats that children consume and they bring in with them. Of course, all of this needs to be done, but ultimately, we have a crisis. We know what the evidence tells us in terms of reducing consumption. We should remember that we should learn from what's happened with tobacco has been successfully controlled by targeting what we call the 3 A's. That's acceptability, affordability, and availability. And certainly this proposal will target available to, but also send a very strong message about the acceptability that these foods are unhealthful and we need to reduce the consumption of them.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Angela and to Asim Malhotra. Obviously, we want to hear from you. You can give us a call on 0500 288 291. You can email vine@bbc.co.uk. There's Radio 2 Facebook page. You can always tweet us as well if you want to. Kendall. He says here, one of the secondary schools has a voluntary agreement with local shops, bakeries and chip shops. The school children do not get served in their premises between certain hours of the day. This ensures that the businesses can still trade though to the general public. Ian in High Wycombe says, I think it's a good idea not to let kids eat fast food. It's about time we stopped takeaway serving them. No wonder children of today are like beer barrels. You see them holding a burger in one hand and a fizzy drink in the other. My mother would never have let me eat that stuff, and I'd have been in trouble if she'd ever caught me buying it. Emma says from Swansea, instead of penalising the shops, blame the parents who give the children the money in the first place. Tackling obesity starts at home. Dave on Facebook, how about just letting people live their lives the way they want to live them? Stop trying to control every aspect of everything. Just leave us alone. Simon says, when I was at school, I used to have the pound special every Wednesday, chips and mini fish, or chips, mini sausage and curry sauce. 20 years later, I'm fine. And Alex says, if children can't buy chips, they'll just buy crisps and sweets instead. Should we really close all newsagents between 12 and 2?
Saturday mornings on BBC Radio 2.
I'm staying until 1 o'clock.
Graham Norton.
We are towing the caravan. Oh, I'd get stuck behind them. To meet up with our friends Nikki and Steve, who are camping. They arrived yesterday, but in a cold, wet night. And have suffered some sort of rip in their tent. Is that a euphemism? Tell them we'll be there soon. Let them know I've packed a staple gun, a variety of glues, and a needle and thread. Can you please let them also know the cost of the glue comes to £8.50. How much glue did you buy?
Graham Norton.
£8.50.
Saturday morning from 10.
And if you'd like some more, why not check out my free download?
And Carl's online in Norwich. Afternoon, Carl.
Afternoon, Vanessa.
Well, you're an expert on this. You've owned a chip shop for 17 years. Tell me whether you think that fish and chip shops and other takeaways should be stopped from serving school children in school hours.
Well, obviously I don't, but I personally think the problem is more the internet than fast food. Kids these days don't seem to be about more as much as they used to be. Certainly in the school holidays, we hardly see them anymore.
Assuming you'd be out on your bike doing something active and burning off your fish and chips, but these days you're not. You're sitting in your room doing something rather on the internet. But do you think there is a responsibility, though, among fish and chip shop owners and other takeaway owners to stop young kids spending money, especially on a daily basis on that kind of food?
I don't really think that's our responsibility, but obviously we want kids to be healthy and things like that. But I just can't see where it's really our problem, to be honest.
Right, thanks for calling. Let's talk to Julie. Julie's in the Wirral. Hi, Julie, what do you think?
Well, I'm not against anybody going to the chip shop, but I'm against this council banning the chip shops and takeaways and such like from closing them at lunchtime. I work on the run. So if I want to run into a fast food takeaway and get something for my lunch and they've shut them down because they don't want kids eating there, what am I meant to do? It's infringing on what I need to do.
Well, you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say what Mr. Malhotra would say. You're meant to go and get a lovely salad. You're meant to get a couple of apples, banana, cucumber. Who can? No one can tolerate salad, but we're meant to learn to love the stuff, aren't we?
But the thing is, when I was at school, I'm 47 now, when I was at school, we weren't allowed to be out at lunchtime. We all had to be inside the school. And I'm wondering now where, how are these children allowed out at lunchtime? They're not safe to be out anyway. You don't know where they've gone, who they're with, obviously not what they're eating. I mean, what will happen to the schools being insured for the children that's in their care? Do they not, look after them between lunch hours?
Julie, thanks very much indeed for calling. We've had some news, Justin. Let's go to Alan Dedicate in the newsroom.
Thanks, Vanessa. Within the past few minutes, a man has been found guilty of murdering and abducting 5-year-old April Jones in mid-Wales last October. Mark Bridger, who's 47, had claimed her death was an accident. April Jones was taken by Bridger as she played with her friends near her home in Machynlleth. More details at 1 o'clock.
Thanks very much, Alan. Aberdeenshire says, what a ridiculous idea this is. Near where I live, there are a few colleges in the same area, and there are around 10 different traders. How are these people supposed to make a living if they're not allowed to serve during those hours? They are dependent on people coming down and buying their produce. At 5 o'clock, the place is empty because everyone's at home, so if they can't serve, it would put local firms right out of business. This is one of the most infuriating topics I've ever heard. Who has the right to tell us when we can have a bag of chips? How dare the council say we have to wait until 5 o'clock? No one should have that power. I understand the worries about health for the children, so maybe they should put an age limit on it, like they do in the pubs. And on the line, Simone's on the line in Barnet in northwest London. Hi, Simone. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello, afternoon.
I can't hear you that well.
I can hear you. You sound fine to me. What do you think about a fast food and children in school hours?
I don't think that is going to help the cause. I think this is part of a much bigger issue. I think by the time children are 12, 13, 14, they've already established their food choices in life. I think basically the problem is parents were feeding their children this sort of rubbish from the very young ages of 2 and 3.
Yes.
You see them walking along the high street, they're barely able to walk, and they've got a big McDonald's or fish and chips in their hands. They're not taught to make sensible food choices from young. I think by the time they're 12, 13, 14, they've already developed the taste for that sort of stuff. So it's very difficult to change the food patterns,
So what would you do? I mean, this is one of